My name is Yaron Silberman. I'm almost 30 years in medical device industry, and in the last 3.5 years, I'm involved with a startup that is going to change the world and is going to change the way many couples will have babies and build families. BAIBYS is developing an autonomous system as simple to operate as a coffee machine to select optimal sperm cells for fertility treatments, in other words, IVF. The problem that we're solving is that although the WHO declares that 96% of sperm cells, of the million sperm cells we have in each sample, are abnormal and not ideal for fertilization, in IVF, the laboratories select the cells arbitrarily, namely having much more chances to select an abnormal and non-ideal cell for the fertilization. This scenario limits IVF success rates globally at 40%, and when the woman age is older, then the success rates drop even to 2%, which means that these couples will probably not have babies from their IVF. By allowing using the sperm cells that are ideal for fertilization, we will improve success rates, reduce birth defects, and improve the business side of the fertility clinics. Well, attempts to select ideal sperm cells started already 20-something years ago. However, we have millions and millions of sperm cells in each sample. We only need a few of them for each fertility cycle, and they're in constant motions, and being the smallest cells in the human body, only 3 microns in diameter. Namely, reviewing them one by one, ignoring the 96% that are not ideal and selecting the few that are, is a very tedious and long and subjective job for a human being. Reviewing sequentially, cell by cell, can take a few hours per couple. When IVF and robotics come into picture, everything changes immediately. AI can identify all sperm cells in parallel, disqualify at once all abnormal ones, and focus only on the ones with potentials to be ideal. Then the robotic system focuses on one of them, makes sure that it's fine from all sides, and then physically, mechanically, imitating the motions of an embryologist and isolating that sperm cells to a different droplet ready for injection. Doing so is much faster, is objective, consistent, and even more accurate than the human eye due to the technology we have today. It requires no training from anyone, just pressing a button, which makes everything affordable, which is very critical in the IVF industry, since fertility medicine is still mostly private medicine for profit. First, I would like to address your earlier comment about the sperm catastrophe. The world is indeed in a fertility crisis. You can read this in all newspapers around the world. Starting 2021, studies show that sperm quantity dropped, the average sperm quantity dropped by more than 50% in the last 50 years. More severely, sperm quality degraded such that the WHO needed to reduce the bar for a sperm sample to be considered as normal. Yes, we are in catastrophe, and if you go to a fertility clinic next to you, you'll see younger couples sitting there as opposed to 20, 30 years ago. AI is ideal in the sense that it accurately replicates the decision-making of a human embryologist. Namely, the criteria to select optimal sperm cells are published in the WHO manual for sperm laboratories. They are clear. However, a human embryologist doesn't have the patience and the time to review the sperm cells one by one as they're moving in very tiny motion patterns. AI and computer vision are ideal for this end. All we need to tell them are what is a normal sperm cell and what is an abnormal sperm cell. We do that by showing the system tens of thousands of images of sperm cells classified by human embryologists as normal or abnormal. With time, the AI algorithm infers the fine details that are considered normal and abnormal in each sperm cell. And from that moment onward, it can replicate the decision-making process of the embryologist. Then comes the robotic part, which allows the system to track one cell for a second or two to make sure that it's perfect, pick it up and isolate it ready for injection. But first, I'll address your concern of how accurate it can be and avoiding any mistakes. So we use multiple labelers, namely we send each sperm cell image to a group of embryologists and we allow all of them to classify it as normal or abnormal independently of the decisions of the others. They're blinded to what their colleagues noted about this sperm cell. Only when we have a consensus among the labelers, then we use this image to train the AI algorithm. And therefore, we are confident that the AI algorithm is trained and based only on clear decision of normal or an abnormal. As for the operation method, we are building a system, literally as simple to operate as a coffee maker with capsules. Namely, you place the sperm sample in a capsule, you place the capsule in the machine, select how many sperm cells you need and press a button. That's it. You can walk away for a few minutes and the system will scan the sperm sample, finds the ideal cells for fertilization, focus on them, and while it's making sure that they are indeed ideal, pick them up and move them to another location on the capsule. At the end of the process, the machine will beep and the embryologist can come and take out this cartridge when they know that the sperm cells that are ideal for fertilization are located elsewhere in the capsule, ready for injection. So it's a standard capital versus disposable equipment model where the clinics consume disposable cartridges and buy usually one or two machines to process these samples. The business model of it is very clear, and I want to say something interesting about BAIBYS. Our seed round in 2021 of $2 million was raised from fertility doctors. These people understand both the clinical value of the system, but also the business side, because as we mentioned earlier, fertility is a for-profit business. Therefore, the successful doctors are also very clever businessmen. And these are the people that paid out of their private money $2 million to fund BAIBYS. They believe in the future of the system being placed in each and every fertility clinic globally and being used in each and every of the 5 million IVF cycles around the world. Do the math yourself. The cost of the cartridge is a couple of hundreds, multiplied by 5 million IVF processed globally, and the sky is the limit. No, absolutely not. These doctors who invested in BAIBYS are mostly from Europe, so we are international by nature. The US is fighting high cost of fertility treatment, blocking the access of most of the US population to IVF. So we have great future in the US. We have excellent future in Europe where our investors are based. And of course, giant economies like India, like Japan, like China, all are now facing fertility crisis and declining populations, and our system will blossom in all these giant economies in Asia Pacific region. Well, everything you said is true. We have access to experts in all fields. The executive of this company are all veterans of the BioMed industry in Israel. We have accumulated hundreds of years of experience in this industry, and Israel is a heaven for medical device. We have doctors, we have access to embryologists. We are located 2 buildings away from the largest private medical center in Israel, which has the largest IVF clinic in the Middle East. So we have access to endless number of embryologists as well as patients. With this model in mind, we developed our system here in Tel Aviv, but ready to commercialize it starting Q4 of 2024 globally. We'll start in a few key territories, as I mentioned earlier, Europe, US, and Asia Pacific, and we'll expand gradually, hopefully fast. And our business model is based on the single-use cartridge consumption, and that's going to take the company to multi-million dollar in revenue within a few years. We want this system to make good. Namely, we want to help more couples to have babies. That's why we chose that name. And we think that the key to do so is by using AI, and that's why we incorporated the word AI into the name of the company. Yep, I think that's it. So first, I would say that currently BAIBYS is seeking $1 million to complete a seed extension round that started earlier this year. We're doing it with the assistance of Marquee Capital. We access immediately with effortless thousands of potential investors globally. We've got some very interested replies, and we have extensive dialogues with a few firms out of it. What is very nice about this process that it's all running without our attention, allowing us to focus on what we do best, while Marquee is responsible to providing useful links to investors. We strongly believe that this cooperation will lead to the investor we seek for BAIBYS to conclude this round, and we are certainly looking forward to using this service again when we will start the next round, which will be more significant and we'll be raising a few $1 million for the round A.